Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
You know, if Charlie Usen ever leaves me, I'm going to potentially just cry, shaken naked in the fetal, as Tim Allen would say. He's my sounding board. He's who I vent to. He who listens to me half glass full, whatever.
Glass half full.
That's it. Yeah. He's that guy for me. Like just now in the break, I was swearing and cussing and going off. And here's the show open. Let's go have a show.
Sparky should never be a youth coach if anybody wonders what he was yelling
I
about.
told you I tried that once, didn't I? Yeah. Tried in a park and rec. And got into it with a park and rec lady that was like overseeing it. And that was it. I was done. She got booted out and told she wasn't doing that anymore. And I was like, I'm definitely not coaching anymore, so you don't have to worry about me. In fact, Brandon Snide's kid was on my flag football team. I was coaching him. Yeah. So Brandon watched the whole thing.
I feel like Brandon's probably a little more cool-headed when it comes to potentially being a coach, right?
Have you heard him? How can you possibly think that?
No, he can't.
No chance.
Said he wouldn't cheer for his kids if they're not on his favorite team yet.
No way. There's no way, Brad. No, Nope, I don't believe you. I had Charlie User there, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer here. Thanks for listening. We're broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Guest free today. Not because I didn't reach out. Some days I just don't reach out. Like yesterday, I didn't try to even get anybody. Today, I tried multiple people. I tried to get Larry Harris on, former Bucks GM, because he's representing the Golden State Warriors on stage at the NBA Draft Lottery on Sunday, 2:00. But he is in the middle of draft stuff and everything else, so he couldn't come on. Then I tried to get Dave Dean, who is with the Milwaukee Bucks and has been there forever. Used to be the guy running the Herd years ago, but I've known Dave Dean for a long time. He also can't do it. So he's the one that's going to be in the room when the balls get picked. Mallory Edens will be the one on stage on TV that we'll see. And we'll get more into that coming up later in the hour. So those are the two people I try to get. No luck either way, which is completely fine. It was just going to be a fun interview with whoever I would have gotten between those two. But we do have to start off before we get to everything else going on, including Brandon McManus obviously getting cut by the Packers. I want to start off with this Chris Haynes thing, if you don't mind. And I know I heard about 9 to noon. I don't know if Mason Crosby show did it or not, but I know Rami and John and Brandon talked about it and played some of it. So this is Chris Haynes. Now, again, he's an NBA insider, been around a long time. He's related to Giannis's wife, cousin, whatever. And when all that was going on with Lillard and Giannis and all that, you knew he was actually talking to these dudes, unlike Shams, right? Or Windhorst or the rest of them. You knew he had the insight legitimately on these guys. So check this out.
I just believe that it's very likely that we've seen Giannis in a Bucks uniform for the last time. I just think it's very likely. So, this is the time. This is the time to move. You can't, if Giannis were to tell them, hey, I'm not resigning here, I'm not doing an extension, the Bucks, I think the Bucks have to move him. So this is where it's really getting serious.
I realize, and I'm in the same boat, that we are sick and tired of having to listen to Giannis crap every day. I get it. I understand, right? We've all had our fill of having to talk about this crap for the last 2 years, damn near every other day. And I try to stay out of the weeds on it. And I'm not going to do this every time there is a report. But this report feels different after Giannis talking Jim Ozarski about the new hire, Giannis not being at the press conference, and Giannis talking about it being Milwaukee and they, which we talked about, distancing himself. And then when asked about, coming back to Milwaukee or whatever, we'll see. Yeah, okay, fine. So now here comes Chris Haynes following that up with what we just played here, saying, it's done. Pretty much done. The question I have for you is simple. Does this mean more to you because it's coming from Chris Haynes? Does it carry more weight with you as a Bucks fan? because it's coming from Chris Haynes? Or are you like Rami, who kind of looks at all of this as white noise and believes that, Rami, he'll never leave. He's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. And Rami hasn't officially said he's not going to leave, but he has poo-pooed it all year long from it being a thing at the trade deadline. Just like, I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen. Does this mean more to you because it's coming from Chris Haynes, related to Giannis's girl, tight with Lillard, appears him and Giannis talk as well? Does it mean more? Do these comments hold more weight with you than others that we've heard in the past? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the socials at WI Sports Radio, streaming live on Instagram Live, on X, and on YouTube. Dugout YouTube chat available for you to comment there as well. We'll read some of those. Charlie will do that. You also can go back and forth with others in the Dugout YouTube chat, and we're streaming live on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page. It definitely means more to me with it being Chris Haynes because we know of the relationships. And I seem to trust him more than these other guys because I firmly believe they are talking and do have a thing. And I don't believe that his relationship is the same as, well, I know it's not, the same as Sharania or Windhorst. So like Sharania, as we've talked about for 2 years, we believe here that he is going through Giannis's agents and they're pushing, and that's the guy he's being fed from, or the people he's being fed from. Not necessarily Giannis by himself. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. This deal here feels more like Giannis or girl or his wife or whatever is more than likely talking to Haynes and having those conversations about what all is going on at this point. But at the end of the day, what is going to have to happen, he eventually publicly is going to have to say, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to sign the extension. They want to trade me, they can trade me, but I'm going to see what happens after this year and potentially explore free agency. So you don't essentially say, I'm out, but you just say, yeah, I'm going to play another year and see how the team does, and then I'll figure out what I want to do when I get to free agency. And if they want to do something different because they don't want to see what happens after this year and they want to trade me, well, that's their prerogative. I mean, that's the easy answer, easy way out, by saying, no, I'm not signing, but by still saying, but I'm not asking for a trade. I'm willing to play this year out. And if, we end up being really good and I decide I want to stay here because of it, then I will. And if I don't, then I very well may leave to go chase a championship again. And you leave it wide open. Now, again, as we all agree, I think they got to trade him then, if that's what comes out. But at some point here publicly, he's got to get off the fence and quit talking out of both sides of his mouth and say something one way or the other. Now, it looks like, based on how he talked to Ozarski, based on what Chris Haynes said here, that the writing is clearly on the wall more now than it was prior to this moment in time.
Everything that Giannis has said, the way that he's said these things.
No more. I'm here right now. No, that all is done. Now the season's done. No more. I'm right here in Milwaukee now. I want to be a Buck. None of that. None of that.
It feels very hard to believe what Wes Eden said the other day about the communication between Giannis and them being so clear, and that they talk all the time and that they're always just open with each other, talking about what each of them want. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like him saying that, and then what the piece by Jim Owczarski laid out with Giannis showed that Giannis may not have liked that answer, and said, and the way he talked about it, it seemed like that fractured a little bit. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now where both sides are talking out the sides of their mouths, and that the Bucks seem like they're trying very hard to pressure Giannis into the situation, while at the same time still kind of groveling to Giannis and giving him everything that he needs, and probably not going to pressure him if he doesn't make a decision after this lottery here. Like, it just feels like I don't trust the Bucks to strong arm him all the way through, and I don't trust Giannis to go through 100% with what he's saying right now at this point. Feels like we're getting played by both sides.
I just put something together in my brain that I should have put together previously, and I apologize. I'm old. Sometimes it takes me a while to figure things out. Do you know what this is like?
What's that?
This is Brett Favre.
Yeah.
It's Brett Favre from the aspect of, after 5 years of, well, I don't know if I want to play next year. I'll get back to you. And then he'd get back to us in like February. Well, I don't know if I want to play next year. I'll get back to you. And then it's March. Well, I don't know if I want to play next year. I'll get back to you. And it's April. And Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy, and I don't know who initiated it. My guess would be Ted, but I don't know that for sure. Had finally had enough and wanted to see what Aaron Rodgers was going to do, right? I want to see. I think he's about ready. I'm good. So, Brett, you want to play? I need an answer by said date. Plain simple. You can't give me one, then you can retire, do whatever you want, but I need an answer by said date. And what happened? Brett decided I'm going to retire. Because he didn't know, apparently. Mm-hmm. So then he gets up there, he cries, loses his mind, da-da-da-da-da, whole big deal on TV. Packer fans are crying everywhere. So then draft comes, all that. Now they get to, their OTAs or whatever. Aaron Rodgers is sitting there. And what's Aaron Rodgers talking about? Yeah, man, we got this playbook. And these guys aren't running the plays that they're supposed to be running because they're running what Brett wanted them to run and not what's in the playbook. And I got to keep telling them, no, you got to run what's in the playbook. That's what I know. You can't be running what he ran because I don't know what that is. Like, you've got to stay with what I want, run what I want. Okay. So we go through April. We go through May. We go through June. And then all of a sudden in July, I think I want to play again. We're on a helicopter, whatever, and plane. We're on a plane. We're flying in. TV cameras are everywhere watching the plane land. There's a TV tracker of his plane headed to Green Bay. Follow him over there. He's trying to bust into family night practice on TV. Gets put up into a suite or whatever, him and his wife, whole thing. But that all came because why? Because they gave him a deadline. He didn't like it. He didn't want to be told that he had to make a decision by a certain time. Screw you, and I'm going to play now. But it didn't work out that way. Instead, he got traded to the Jets. Now here you are in this situation with the Milwaukee Bucks, and they've had their fill now. All right, you're in or you're out. We need a decision here because we can't continue to operate this way, and you potentially could leave as a free agent, and we get nothing. So we need a decision. And I firmly believe that 99% of professional athletes do not want to be told that they have a deadline to make a career decision. They don't want to be told that. Like, no, I'll decide when I want to decide. So to the aspect of maybe it offended him, maybe. My response to that is, I don't care. Don't care at all. Get over it. You're a grown adult. Make up your mind. You want to be or don't you? And if you don't, that's fine. Like, if I'm the Bucks, you can't be mad if he wants out. You can't be. Look at where you are. Look at what you have. Like, how can you be mad? As a Bucks fan, can you be mad? Sure. You can be mad because you could say, hey, he said he was going to be here forever. He preached loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. He's going to be here. He's going to be here. And now he's not going to be here. My town, my town. You going to be back? Oh, no, we'll see. My town, right? That's what he yells. Hey, man, all this, he's not like everybody else. Yes, he is. Yeah, he is. He is. This isn't Giannis at 18, man. This is Giannis superstar with all the money and all the fame and all the praise and everything that rolls along with this cat. He now is living that life like all the rest of them live. He's now having that same conversation with himself about where am I going to rank among the all-time greats when this is said and done? And am I held back by only having one ring? I can't get in the conversation with some of these other guys with only one ring. I have to have at least two to have a chance at this. And if I have two with two different teams, maybe that's even better for my legacy going forward if I win it in two different organizations. And if I win my second one in New York with the Knicks, who haven't done squat as far as winning championships in a long, long, long time, and I win one there, can you imagine all the stuff that will come my way in New York for the rest of my life if I land that one? That would be amazing. And my popularity and everything behind it would all skyrocket because of where I win my next one. It's human. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay. It's not that bad. Problem is, we were all convinced that he's different. He's not. Listen, I don't know what I'd be in that situation. Odds are I'd be doing the same type of crap as he's doing, right? I don't think I would be as worried much about hurting everybody's feelings. I would just decide what I'm going to do and go. But you got to give him credit. He could have left before all this. He didn't have to stick around this whole entire time. He could have been like, deuces, I'm out. I'm going to go play in a bigger market. I'm going to make more money, do my other stuff. So, again, depending on how this all plays out, we'll see. It's going to suck when he leaves. It's going to hurt. It's going to feel like a gut punch. But when you hear Chris Haynes say stuff like he said that he thinks it's done, to me, that's pretty much saying it's probably done. I mean, if Haynes is saying it, I kind of buy into the fact that it's probably done.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And I think going with this idea that Giannis wants all of these next level things that he's not getting out of Milwaukee, what's frustrating is that it's just not him saying it. Everybody else is saying it around him. Everybody else, he wants the Bucks to say it for him. He wants the Bucks to trade him and say, hey, we can't keep doing this. We don't think we're at that level. He doesn't want to have to be the one to say that. He wants his agents to go and tell Shams and Brian Windhorst and all this other stuff, but he doesn't want to be the one to go on ESPN and just say it himself. It's got to be through everybody else and not from him, and that's so frustrating. I get how that's frustrating from the Bucks. But comparing the Bucks to the Packers, I guess I'm a little worried that the Bucks aren't going to strong arm the same way that the Packers were willing to strong arm. And when Brett said he wanted to come back and wants to come back, that if the Bucks were in the same situation with Giannis, they wouldn't keep Giannis out. They'd let Giannis come back. And I guess I'm a little concerned that they wouldn't be in the wrong if they were to let him come back in that situation.
I don't think that I'm concerned about Jimmy Haslam not being willing to strong arm somebody. I don't feel like that's a concern. I don't feel like Jimmy Haslam's going to be soft. And furthermore, I don't think I'm concerned about Wesley Edens being soft either at this point. I don't. Dude, you're telling me you don't think he's sick of all this? Wouldn't you be sick of all this if you're Wes Edens? I've talked about John Horst and how mad I'd be if I was John Horst after the last couple of years. Like the amount of disrespect that all of this points to him is absolutely ridiculous. So I would be livid if I was John Horst at this point. But if I was Wes Edens, as an owner that is spending gobs and gobs of money into luxury tax money and all this other stuff, a lot of owners wouldn't do. Mark Antanasio, if he was an NBA owner, would not be capable of doing what they've been doing, right?
No.
And Lazary leaves him, Fagan leaves him. He's still standing here. Now, I don't know how long he'll be here, but he's still standing here. Should have been at the press conference, but he's still here. So I'm sure he's had his fill of it too. And I'm sure, maybe, guessing, part of the reason he didn't show up was he didn't want to deal with the honest questions. Your
Probably
turn,
not.
You go deal with it. I'm not coming because I don't want to deal with more of this crap. Because to a degree, I'm sure it's heartbreaking to him too, that he's going to be the guy here. And when we talk about legacies, whatever happens after Giannis, it's not going to affect Mark Lazary's legacy. It's not going to affect Peter Fagan's legacy. It's going to affect Wesley Edens' legacy when this whole thing is said and done. If he's still the owner in 10 years and they've been to one playoff berth in the next 10 years, yeah,
but
people are going to all of a sudden quickly be like, yeah, that was cool, but boy, he train wrecked the organization after he lost Giannis.
Doesn't a guy like that, though, doesn't the money that you're losing if you let Giannis go and you just strong arm him away, isn't that worth more to you than your legacy in moments like that?
It all depends on the person and the ego, I guess.
And I just feel like, I guess maybe this is unfair to put this on people, but billionaires have big egos and want all that money at the same time too. I don't know. I just feel like for the most part, a lot of those guys are willing to put their egos aside for more money. And if Giannis is the cash cow on the part here, you have to ride with it. If he wants to not answer you and not give you the decision, but still come back, I just feel like they're going to let him do that. And that just feels wrong.
I can't. I just can't. I mean, you're very well maybe right about the egos and pushing it aside for money and all of that. I'd be pretty crushed. I mean, I am crushed knowing that he's more than likely going to be gone. Whatever is going to happen here, that sucks. It does. Let's see, 414. Dear Sparky, it's amazing that you know what Giannis is thinking when I'm pretty sure Giannis doesn't know what he's thinking. You're really good at what you do. Jane in Bayview. Hi, Jane. Nice to meet you. Has Jane ever texted in? I don't think so. Nice to meet you, Jane. Hey, Jane, I'm just going off of what I read, right? Giannis talking to Jim Ozarski in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel about Taylor Jenkins referred to the Bucks as they and Milwaukee. Not we, not us. They and Milwaukee. That's not a ringing endorsement for somebody that is looking at himself as being on this team long-term. That's just my take. Then you have Chris Haynes come on, who is his wife's cousin, who we know they've had conversations, and he says he thinks it's over too. Now, again, that's not me. That's Chris Haynes having that conversation. You can read it however you want, Jane. All I'm saying is, to me, and you can say, oh, I'm gloom and doom. Okay. But that's kind of how this is laying out right now. Until proven otherwise, that's how it's laying out. And again, I don't want to go nowhere either. Let's go to Trell, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Trell?
Sparky, I love you, man. I'm telling you, I love you. I've been knowing you for 20 years.
Long
Sparky.
Long time. Yep.
I must say, though, this is okay. It's not the end of the world. And I get everybody is upset that we're going to lose probably the best player ever in Bucks history. Get it. Got it. Gone. I get it. But let's be honest, though. We haven't really, relished in what Giannis has meant to this organization in almost 5 years. So it's been almost a half a decade that this team has been a shell of itself. We've been losing in the first round for 3 years in a row. Then we even make the playoffs this last year. And the last time we had any semblance of a fighting team, we almost beat the Boston Celtics, but we didn't have Chris Middleton the whole series. So we never would know how that season would have went the year after we won a championship because Middleton wasn't available in the playoffs. So
correct.
It's I understand Giannis is gonna be a humongous as far as the money to the franchise and stuff, and it's gonna be looking bleak and everything because we don't know what's gonna happen. But what we got to do is just make sure that we got the right general manager and the right coach in place. If we got the right general manager, you can draft nowadays, or you can trade, or whatever you need to do to get you a team again that has a chance to open the championship window. It is not that bleak as it used to be a long, long time ago. We've seen it from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Denver built them a team up. They got them a championship. Boston has done it. We've seen teams do it. You just have to have the right guy that knows talent and that's got the right coach that knows how to put a culture in place and get his players that can play with chemistry and make sure that they're going with the system. I am not that up in arms. I know it's a chance it could be 10 years. I know it is. But I also know that if we got guys in the right place that do the right things, we could see some turning in 2 or 3 years where we're like, okay, you got this young player, Maybe we got, something's going to be opening up in a little bit. So
right.
I'm okay with it, man.
You're going to find out about John Horst in the next 2 or 3 years. That is for sure. Trell, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Jay didn't give you a text back, which was very nice. Thank you, Jay. She said that she's been listening to us in Milwaukee since the fourth day you were on the air, Sparky's Midday Madness. Well, I'm glad that you were listening to Sparky's Midday Madness, but we were on prior to that. The fourth day we were on the air, I was producing for a show for Peter Brown back in the day. I did sports updates or whatever it was back in January of 2005. But anyway, she goes, yada, yada, yada. And I'm here and I've met you several times, Jane and Bayview. Thank you, Jane. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Hopefully I don't make you mad every single day that you listen, but it happens.
Only some of the days.
Yeah. Just like I make Charlie mad at me some of the days. My family's mad at me every day. So we got that going for us. Coming up next, we're going to change gears here, and we'll get to the Mallory Edens and Dave Dean thing for the Bucks at the draft lottery coming up later this hour. But an interesting thing that I came across, a post on X yesterday about expansion of postseasons across sports, kind of, since, what was it, 2020, I think it was. And we're going to go over that list and whether or not it's actually good for sports in general. We've been talking about the NCAA tournament and stuff like that, but it's more than even the NCAA tournament. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen with you here on a Friday. Plead the 5th, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Comes up today at 4:20. Your chance to nominate somebody to shh. Based on the first segment, it could be me. We'll see how that all goes. You can use the talk and text line. You can either call up at 4:20 or you can use the text line between now and then. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. All right, so I want to get one more in here because we had a text message come in as well while we were doing this. Let's see, where is it? Oh, maybe we didn't. Oh, here we go. Yeah. 414. Tell me why they would never tell Giannis he isn't a point guard. I never understood why they let him be the point guard. I will say that was Jason Kidd's idea because if memory serves correctly, they were beat up and hurt in the backcourt. And that season was pretty much toast at that point. And Jason Kidd said, all right, man, let's see what you got. And it unlocked him because it unlocked him from having to put the ball on the ground and kind of be that bull running down the lane for you having to try and stop. And either you're going to follow him, he's going to run over you, whatever. It kind of helped to change his mentality a little bit. He was never a great post player per se, right? He didn't have the shake like Hakeem. He didn't even have he kind of had the baby hook, but he rarely ever used it later in his career at all. He didn't have an outside jumper. So the best way for him to score and to be utilized the best was in the open court going downhill. And in that situation where, you could run pick and rolls and different stuff like that with him. I think it helped his career. I do. And you could look out in Dallas with Jason Kidd and Cooper Flagg, and he's having Cooper Flagg run offense too. He's doing the same thing. I mean, there is something to it. And Paul Pressey, Marcus Johnson, those guys did the same thing in Milwaukee back in the day too. Handling the ball, initiating offense, same type of thing.
Sometimes when you're a bad team, you just put the ball in the best player's hand or the most athletic player's hands and just see what they can do. And I think with like Cooper Flagg, it's a little bit more reasonable. He came in with more of that point guard kind of mind to him, even though he was his power forward body. So I think that helps to actually just get him in that role because he's already prepared for that. Giannis was a little different. Like you said, just built confidence for him. And then I think as we move forward here, this year it was a bad team around him. And when you're a bad team, you put the ball in the best player's hands. I think that ends up being Giannis most of the time when he's on the court.
That's exactly correct. I want to switch gears here a little bit and talk about this post that I saw on postseasons in professional sports. Now, again, we've talked about the NCAA tournament and expanding and so forth, and everybody's been talking about it, and rightfully so. It's a topic. The March Madness X account put out there the new bracket of what's going to look like over 2,000 responses. And I was looking at them yesterday. A lot of profanity, all directed at the NCAA tournament. Like, you couldn't find people that actually liked this idea. Most were just absolutely sickened by what they're doing. So this guy on X, and I don't know the guy, but he's on Field of 68 from time to time, Rocco Miller, tweeted out yesterday, expansion since 2020. The NFL has expanded to 14 playoff teams. The NBA permanently adds a play-in round games. MLB expands to 12 playoff teams. The World Cup moves from 32 to 48 teams. College football expands to the 12-team playoff, looking to get to 24. And March Madness has expanded to 76 teams. There you go. Charlie has it up on our stream right now on X, Instagram Live, YouTube, on the fan Facebook page. If you want to look at the bracket, is up there. It's absolutely obscene.
It's insane. I don't remember exactly who it was, but they were just screaming about how it's going to be so annoying to physically fill out your bracket because it was already hard this year, writing in the names of the teams and stuff. You're not going to be able to do that at all.
But the other issue in all of this is with that bracket, and we're going to get sidetracked here, but is if you're Green Bay or Milwaukee and you win the Horizon League and you're an automatic qualifier, you still may not to get to play because you're going to be stuck in these 2 weeks of playing games or whatever it's going to end up being at the end of the day. You're going to have to fight to get to the actual Field of 64.
That's a whole tournament that they have at the top of the tournament. That's stupid. You already have tournaments leading up to this tournament. Why do you need another mini tournament in between the two tournaments?
Money. That's why they all do it. But my question is this, real nice and simple. Is the expansion of the postseason across all sports Notice I did not say the NHL, by the way. Is the expansion of the postseason across all sports ruining the regular season for you? And from you watching the regular season, has it ruined it for you at all? Because I think that's a fear for college football expanding theirs. That's a fear for the NCAA tournament as well in the college world. For years, I would hear from baseball fans and football fans, because, I love my Bucks, even though they make me angry, about how the NBA sucks. Over half the league is in the playoffs at the end. Blah, blah, blah. It's horrible. Yeah. Well, every other league eventually figured out what the NBA already knew, which is the more cities you have involved that are still watching their teams play and buying tickets for as long as you can possibly get them, the more money you can make. So the NBA and the NHL figured that out long ahead of time, namely David Stern. Everybody else took forever before they finally caught up. And now you've seen everybody else, where half the league gets to go be in the playoffs for that same reason. The one thing is, has the expansion of playoffs in the NFL hurt TV numbers? Nope. Has the play-in tournament hurt regular season numbers? Not based on what they told us this year. Huge numbers for the NBA this year. Even though they're on 30 different platforms, huge numbers for the NBA. Hasn't hurt that. Has it hurt Major League Baseball? Nope. I don't believe it's hurt Major League Baseball. They finally got done of that one-and-done wild card scenario that they have. Now it's at least best of 3. So I think that's even a better deal than what it was before. So you can say they maybe even improve that. But again, hasn't hurt it. Has it hurt down the stretch in September from people tuning in even more to watch it at the end of the month? Nope. You got even more fan bases watching now than you did before. And the other part about this is, so if you go to American Family Field, in the outfield, you have like the pennants, right?
Right.
I can't tell you how many people have complained to me. Why do they got a wild card one up there for? What is the point of that? Man, when you aren't in the postseason regularly, and at that point they weren't, that is why you have it up there.
Take what you can get, man.
That was like that broke the drought. Like that's kind of the deal, man. That's how this goes. So that's why it is a big deal. Then you have the stupid NBA Cup. Now that's not the postseason.
Big deal. What do you mean?
Right. Now you got that thing in the middle of the season. Now that's not the postseason, but you get a trophy, you get a flag or a banner or whatever to hang up and all of that stuff. And they add that on. If you're a fan base that gets to watch your team in the playoffs every year, like the Dodgers, none of this matters and you do not care. But you're telling me if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates and you have a chance at the last wild card in the last week of the season, do you think they're going to say, I don't care. This is all made up crap. This isn't real. This is all added stuff. I don't care about making the last wild card. If you don't win the division, it doesn't count. I'm a Pirates fan. I don't care about any of that stuff. Hell no. Dude, they're going to be on pins and needles, scoreboard watching, calling the sports talk radio in Pittsburgh, losing their mind is what's going to be happening there. That's it. I don't care if there's 10 wild cards. If your team hasn't been in the postseason in a long time and you got a chance to get any one of those, you're going to be excited.
And frankly, if they win that wild card series, they're going to be happy for the rest of the postseason, no matter what happens next, too. Like, that's how excited that fan base is going to be, saying, oh, we did so much better than anybody ever expected us to. We won a round in the playoffs. That's what happened with the Chicago Bears this season. I watched it happen. I was one of those people. They lost that Rams game in the next round, and it was in heartbreaking fashion, but so many people were just okay with it because they beat the Packers in the first round. They got past this hump of not being able to find a quarterback that at least looks like a franchise type of guy. Like, this is something that was worthwhile for a bad franchise to go through, and you're going to see that across sports.
I don't want to sidetrack it real quickly. Nicolay Law talking text line. Did you see the latest text?
Freeway is slow, hun.
Somebody texted us instead of their significant other.
Maybe they just wanted to call us hun. Isn't that like something people do in Baltimore? Maybe it's somebody that's from Baltimore. They call people hun, right?
I think that's a Midwest thing too. I don't think it's just an East Coast thing.
I thought that was like, I think it was a Gordon Ramsay Kitchen Nightmares where it was like a Hun Bakery in Baltimore, and that's just stuck in my head. Now that's crazy.
Hun Bakery?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, no. Like
I have to go back.
Yeah, when I was growing up, my mom and dad would call each other hun. That was a thing. I don't think it's an East Coast thing, but it was just funny. I was like, okay, somebody texted us instead of who they were supposed to be texting. It's okay though. I appreciate you all helping us out.
The freeway is slow.
Yeah, and it's 414, so I'm assuming they're in Milwaukee, maybe listening to the fan. I have no idea. But if you are in Wausau listening to us on the game, WNFL in Green Bay, in Appleton, Duluth, Superior, listening to the game. I've never done this before, but we are on closer to the end of the day when people are leaving work. If you'd like to give us, updates on your freeway experience and your county highways and whatever else you have going on, I mean, I'll read them, I guess. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, just don't make stuff up, please. That's all I ask. All right, take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side. Mallory Edens is going to be on stage. Dave Dean is going to be back behind the curtains to see who gets what ping pong balls on Sunday when the lottery happens at 2:00. Who would you have picked? Are you good with Mallory Edens and Dave Dean, or would you rather have had two other people? Edens is on stage on TV. She will not know if they won or not. She'll find out with the rest of us. Dave Dean is back in the other room and sequestered all day after they do this. Like, you're there, and then you have to sit there for hours until they actually do the lottery. They take your phones, they take everything, and then you're stuck in this room with everybody else. Everybody knows, and you're having food and beverages and hanging out, waiting to be let out once they announce it.
This is so stupid. I watched the NHL draft lottery where they just did the ping pong
right
balls
in front of you. Saw it on X. Yep.
That was so dumb.
Yeah.
Just do that. Why do we have to pretend like this is the presidential election, dude?
Step up to the plate and take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. April through June, you can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. Here we are, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Hope all is well in your world here on a Friday. Smiling, having fun. Now people are texting with their traffic reports. Highway 41 northbound north of Allenton is smooth sailing from the 920. Ah, there you go. I like that. I get down with that. That's good. You know, back in the day when we started the station in Milwaukee, so this was like 2005, I guess it was, and all the way through, our company that owns us has always been opposed to doing traffic reports. Like on some radio stations, you hear, oh, the latest on the Mitchell Interchange in Milwaukee or by the stadium, blah, 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 blah. And they've always been against it because they're like, traffic isn't that bad. Where, you know, you're not Atlanta or Chicago or New York or whatever else. Not needed. We don't need to do traffic necessarily. So most of the markets, they don't do traffic reports. So that's why I said, I'm here for you. We got statewide people listening. You got something going on in Green Bay or whatever the case may be, and you want to share it with others listening to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network and Wisconsin Sports Daily, be more than happy to help out. Mallory Edens, daughter, Wesley Edens' daughter, and Dave Dean, who's been in basketball operations for the Bucks for a long, long time, ran the herd for a few years as well. Are going to be the ones representing the Bucks at the draft lottery. Edens will be on stage, Mallory Edens. Dave Dean will be back in the room sequestered to watch the whole process play out. The question that I have for you is, who would you have picked to do this? Who would you have picked to do this if you were the Bucks? Ziggy uses the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Do I want Mallory Edens on the TV? You bet I do. And anyone that says no is a liar. Says Ziggy, meaning obviously she's good looking and that's why he wants her on TV.
Well, because she got the Bucks the second pick last time she did it. That's why, right?
Sure, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's as good a reason as any, I guess, to put her up there at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a bunch of people on X that were responding to me today as well. Which again is fine. Bucks fan 78, Rodgers. No, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. No. Brad on X says Giannis. That would be funny. Hey man, do you want to come represent us at the draft lottery? Why don't you come sit down and do this? Buck Goose says PJ Tucker. With the timing of his retirement, had you noted, and then setting him up there, that could have been something different. Giannis is another one from Andrew saying Giannis on the way out the door. Another one, Brandon Jennings or Michael Redd.
Okay, I like Michael Redd. I've been seeing a lot of stories about OJ Mayo recently. Maybe OJ Mayo
if you bring up OJ Mayo one more on this time on this damn show, I swear to you.
It was Michael Carter Williams that was bringing up OJ Mayo. So
course.
maybe Michael Carter Williams can do it.
Yeah, another non-factor in Bucks history, Michael Carter Williams. So Brandon Jennings or Michael Redd. Another one for Jennings. Another one for Redd. I said before, Giannis' mama. That would be who I want. Put her either on the stage or in the room where the draft balls happen. Like, let's do that. Or put Giannis back in the room and let his mom be up and be on TV and be a part of all this. He's all about his family getting all the love and all the notoriety. Like, how cool would that be for her, man? She would never forget that.
Would he be like, if they said, Giannis, do you want to do this? Would that just be the easy way of forcing him to make a decision? By him just saying yes or no, like that would just be okay. If yes, that means you're signing your extension. No, that means you're not signing your extension.
How do you leave Milwaukee though if they tell you your mom could be on TV for the draft lottery? How can you walk away from that?
I mean, you can.
I mean,
you can. It just won't feel very good.
That's crap. If that happens, it's absolute crap.
Ziggy says Charlie's right. It's obviously because she got us the second pick last time. Yeah, see.
I don't believe you, Ziggy. 414 says I would put Adrian Griffin up there.
Okay, I think he'd probably say no. If I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably would not want to represent the Milwaukee Bucks.
From the 920, and this may be himself, I'm not sure. John Kuhn nominated to put up there. That may be Kuhn himself. I don't know.
He did pretty good in Pittsburgh.
He did a great job in Pittsburgh.
I think he can do a great job here.
Called into the draft show as well between rounds 2 and 3. Always will appreciate that for John Kuhn helping us out on the draft show with me and Charlie. That would be a good one too. I'm fine with Brandon Jennings if that's the way you wanted to go. He's definitely had the Bucks back here for the last several years. He was in the championship parade, for God's sakes. Like, if you would have told Brandon Jennings when he got moved to, where was it, Detroit, that he'd be in a championship parade in Milwaukee all those years later, I think he would have laughed and said, "You're high, dude. That's not going to happen." He literally has become a legend in Milwaukee with Bucks fans. Pretty wild.
Or Sonny Ilyasova. That'd be another good one.
I wouldn't. He lived here forever, even when he didn't play
He's
here.
awesome.
I'd
I
be
love
fine with that.
Sonny Ilyasova.
All right, let's talk about their crew coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen with you here on a Friday afternoon. Time for your fan weather forecast. Right now, it's 67 degrees and sunny, brought to you by the Milwaukee Area Napa Auto Care Association. Sun out the rest of the evening. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Low of 51.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. How we all doing on a Friday, May 8th, 3 p.m. Did you see, Charlie, what's going on with the colleges that happened yesterday? Did you see this?
I didn't.
You didn't see this?
No. Sometimes you're really vague about whenever you say, did you see this?
Well,
and then
you
I'm
would
like,
know.
I have no idea. And then you start reading it, and half the time I'm like, oh, yes, I did see this, but you didn't explain it.
The Canvas system with the
Oh, I
colleges?
did see this. Yeah. See, again, you're too vague. Dude.
Tommy, that's not that funny. He's settled down. He's very happy today. This is the thing. So I got a freshman in college, and he's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. And we're like, yeah, okay. Sends a picture, and this whole thing, like, okay, this really is a cyber attack. And then later last night comes out that, oh, yeah, all of these schools
like
are being
University,
affected.
yeah, big ones.
His last day is next Friday. So if everything's not done, do they still get to leave when they're supposed to leave? And then you do it online later?
Either that or I saw some people on social media talking about this and saying that, oh, like, are they just going to get A's for the class because this is a failure of the system by the school and stuff? Like, they kind of have to some degree. So maybe some teachers would let these kids off the hook and just say, hey, for the most part, most of you guys pass me. There's a few of them that they're like, I can't pass you. So maybe there is an extra exam that you have to do. But if the kid has like a C+ or better, man, you're passing, I would think.
You just pass them?
Yeah.
No way.
Well, maybe not on all topics, but like if it's like comic books class, because I was talking to
comic books class.
Don Wachillis, Dan Underberg, Saturday mornings, 9 to 11 at College Sports Weekly. They're both professors. They were talking about all the weird like superhero classes, comic book classes that they have at their school and stuff. So it's real. Like some of these things, they got crazy classes some places. Yeah, you just get an A for that.
That's not even real. You know, all this stuff. Because Tommy Wirtz is the king of this. Oh, school's all got what used to be when I was there. They're off school all the time. And Charlie's over here like, oh, comic books class. Come on. Let's not act like it wasn't soft for y'all, too. Like, y'all had some soft stuff going on as well. You know,
they just supported our interests.
I took intro to walking in college. Not even
intro to what?
To walking.
Easy class.
For 1 credit. Intro to walking. Not even like walking 101 or advanced walking, introduction to walking.
Was there an advanced walking?
No.
I feel like that implies there wasn't an advanced one.
He wants to know if there was an advanced walking class.
Well, that was called running, and I wasn't doing that. No.
That was called running. Why do I turn this microphone on? I'm just back off. Let's get back to the show. He sidetracks the show too much when he's in this area. Too much.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's get to it. Now, I want to do something that we didn't have on the rundown, but I had saw after while I was having lunch. Tommy and I were just talking about it with Charlie in the break. And that is this report from Bruce Levine. Now, Bruce Levine is an MLB insider from 670-1043, The Score. down in Chicago. I've had him on numerous times. If this gains even more traction, we'll get Bruce on the show. He always comes on. You'll always hear him on with Tim Allen throughout the course of a season or on Hot Stove Weekly or whatever the case may be. Bruce has come on with both of us for a long time. But according to Bruce Levine, the Cubs are one of the teams that have talked to the Mets about acquiring starting pitcher Freddie Peralta.
All right. I like the move for the Cubs. They need starting pitching. A lot of these guys are getting hurt. Shota Imanaga looks really good. He had another great game yesterday. But you need more than that in their rotation. Yeah, go for it. Bring in Freddie. That'd be fun, right, Sparky? You'd have fun with that.
It sets up to be absolutely beautiful for the Brewers fans, right? So because you already have a portion of Cub fans that are convinced that this was sabotage, sending the trader to them because they still can't beat the Brewers in the division, and they blame him for being an idiot for part of it, right? So you got those people that are already thinking something's up. Now you're telling me that David Stearns, a guy that came from Milwaukee to New York, is now going to trade a guy that stinks and Freddie Peralta, who's getting paid a ton of money, to Chicago and net prospects and everything else back. I mean, if the story plays the way the story's played, either one of two things are going to happen. Either A, he is going to continue to stink and the Cub fans are going to lose their mind that they got swindled again by anybody associated with the Brewers, or B, he'll end up hurt and miss the rest of the season, and then they're really going to be screaming out loud mad. I mean, I can already see it because the Cubs just don't have any luck with these guys.
There's nobody of you that is even a little worried that he just comes in and is good for the Cubs.
No,
not one bit.
No, I don't even think of it. No, no. I think it's more possible. Not that I want this to happen because Peralta's a good dude, but I think it's legitimately more possible that 2 weeks after he gets there, he blows out his elbow. And then Cub fans are just livid and convinced that Stearns knew it was about to happen and traded him to Chicago on purpose. You would just see Cub fans,
Stearns too much credit.
Cub fans becoming unhinged at that point that they got screwed again. Oh my gosh, the amount of laughter that I would get from that would be amazing. Not at Peralta getting hurt. Again, I like Freddie Peralta, but that would be pretty wild. I don't know. He could pitch well for y'all. Could. Would he concern me in the postseason? No. I would not be concerned about dealing with Freddie Peralta in the postseason at all. Freddie Peralta is not a true number one. He's just not. On a World Series caliber team, he's probably a 2 or a 3 on a World Series caliber team. He's not your one. Now, if Imanaga is your one in Chicago and you think he's your guy because he's pitched well so far, okay, fine. And then Freddie is your 2, okay. Maybe Matthew Boyd is your 2 if he quits playing with his kids. And then Freddie Peralta is your 3. Okay, that's fine. If you've got 2 guys that are better than him, then yes, then that's legit. But if you go in the postseason and that cat's won and you have nobody better than him behind him, no, you ain't winning nothing.
Which the way their injury luck has gone, looks like that could very likely be the case.
Yeah, they got 10 guys out, don't they?
Other side of things, I don't know if the Cubs really have a prospect system right now that's worthwhile, especially to a team like the Mets, who I think would more likely like to just turn it around fast. I think they'd be looking for something a lot cheaper than that. Maybe just bring Michael Conforto back, who started off really good for the Cubs, but he played well for the Mets. David Stearns going back to a guy that he knows and recognizes to help rejuvenate the offense that he's done before.
By the way, all that crap that David Stearns got in New York about, not bringing back Polar Bear, he's not bringing back Pete Alonso. I was like, I wonder what Pete Alonso's doing this year. So I looked the other day, he's hitting 205, 215, something with 5 home runs. And they paid him a bunch of money.
He started off really slow and he started to kind of even out and become a more consistent player now. So we'll see for the rest of the season. But the way he started off was atrocious. So him getting back up to 205 with 5 home runs, he's done okay since then.
But again, he's another one of those guys that is going to hit for crap for an average, but he's going to hit 40 home runs to justify his crappy average and a ton of strikeouts. That's Pete Alonso's career. Now, you want to spend a ton of money for that, by all means, go ahead and do it. Baltimore did it. Stearns didn't want to do it, which makes sense. Milwaukee certainly would never do that because that's not the style of ball they want to play.
Well, and the Orioles are protected a little bit because Gunnar Henderson's been all right to start the season. Samuel Basallo's been awesome to start the season for them. So they have protection around Pete Alonso right now. If he gets going, that's just going to be a really great team out east, especially since almost everybody else seems to be struggling in that division too.
Yes, and we'll see how this all plays out. But Colby Mayo, right? That's a guy that I've liked.
Been so bad defensively.
Horribly.
So
horrible
bad.
Offensively too. He hasn't been much of anything at this point. Let's see. Right now, let me see. Looking at numbers here. Yeah, Gunnar Henderson, 9 home runs. He's hitting 201, Charlie. His on-base percentage is 260, Charlie.
These guys don't care about that.
Gunnar Henderson,
9 home runs.
Horrible.
That's just crazy.
Right now. Horrible. But he's got 9 home runs.
It's like the 3-point shot right now, man. It's coming back. If you can hit enough home runs, you can outweigh all the other negative stuff.
Again, that's why you go back and you say you prefer the Brewers' way. Having said that, we still know that you still need some type of power at third base or shortstop between now and the end of the season. If you can stay healthy, you'll need one more bat. So we'll see if they do that.
Murakami hit his first double of the season the other night. He was the last eligible player to hit a double in Major League Baseball despite having 13 home runs.
I don't think I'd care if I was the White Sox.
That's just crazy.
I think I'd be fine with it.
I just think that's an insane stat.
Yeah, it is. No, yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a crazy stat. All right, let's talk about the Crew. Besides that whole Freddie Peralta thing, it's Miz versus Freed tonight. Yankees Brewers at American Family Field. Leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love. Coming to East Troy. Ooh, watch out, East Troy. From 5 until 6:30 today, we'll have the leadoff show. So looking forward to that. Plus, you have the Wall of Honor thing going on with CC Sabathia and Dave Parker. Dave Parker, the second there, obviously representing that family. But Sabathia, he'll be up in the TV booth. I'm sure he'll probably be in the radio booth, is my guess. So looking forward to hearing from CC and all of that coming up tonight. But when Charlie and I were talking about this before the show, it really kind of gets you to a conversation because Max Fried has been really good at points of his career, right? Really good. The Atlanta Braves system and doing all of that. And Mizorowski is young and starting his first full season as a starter in Major League Baseball. So Mizorowski has a long, long way to go. You don't know if injuries will beset him and screw up everything, if he can stay healthy and stay on the line. Remember before the start of the season, we tried to get him on and he didn't respond to me. Eno Saris from The Athletic had his bold predictions. Do you remember that? Do you remember the bold prediction that he had for Cy Young?
Was it Jacob Mizorowski? Yes, it was. Yeah.
He predicted Jacob Mizorowski to win the Cy Young, and we talked about it on the show. And it wasn't bold predictions for every team. He just made 4 or 5 bold predictions for the season, and it just happened to include a Brewer with his Cy Young prediction. Now, all of a sudden, you look at Mizorowski right now, it doesn't seem as crazy necessarily as it did in the offseason. What are your expectations for Miz this season and moving forward? Perennial All-Star? Do we think he could potentially win a Cy Young at some point? Do we think he eventually could be, something more than even that? A guy that wins, 20 games several times in his career? Just how great do we think Mizorowski can be when you see him matched up against a great guy like Max Fried tonight for the Yankees? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250 on the social, streaming live on X and on YouTube and on Instagram Live at WI Sports Radio. And then, of course, on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page as well. Charlie, how good? Or how great?
I think this guy is at least a one-time Cy Young winner. I think if he can stay healthy throughout his career, I think he can do that. And frankly, I think if he can stay healthy this season, he can do that. He is that exciting to watch. He has that just aura to him that I think draws in award voters too, especially if you see that high intensity that he has whenever he strikes somebody out and screaming, walking off the mound.
I wonder if that will change as he gets older.
I hope not. I mean, I think that's something, it might, but also you see a lot of guys, some of the greatest of all time, that have that intensity throughout their careers. Like Nolan Ryan was that through 45. Through his last season, he was ready to fight anybody. He was ready to be intense whenever he needed to.
Robin Ventura.
Right. I think you have a lot of players that the great ones will keep that same kind of energy because they need that type of energy to continue to be great. And Jacob Mizorowski, I think right now is showing the signs of that. Again, all is going to rely on is this tall, lanky guy who can be clumsy sometimes. Can he stay healthy on that mound too? Especially when you see so many guys around him, so many guys that pitch like him that aren't able to stay healthy throughout the league and on his own team even.
So what do you think? Just how great or good do you think Miz eventually can be this year and going forward? I think there is a very, very good chance that Mizorowski is a perennial all-star going forward. Again, providing he is healthy. I also agree with Charlie. I think he could win a Cy Young or 2, again, providing that he is healthy. I mean, Corbin Burns won 1 and then ruined himself. Got hurt. Not that he did on purpose. It's part of the game, being a pitcher, right? So I think that is very likely as well. I want to see, before I'm willing to go all in on this, I want to see what Mizorowski looks like when Contreras is potentially gone. I want to see what he looks like with Jefferson Caro as his catcher moving forward. Is he still as good when there is no William Contreras around? Because as we've talked about, I think Contreras is a big part of why this pitching staff is as good as it is, and why sometimes when they leave and go other places, all of a sudden they aren't as good as they were when they were in Milwaukee. Chris Hook, obviously pitching coach, gets a lot of love, but I think the other part of it is Contreras. So I kind of want to wait and see what this looks like in the next year or two when Jefferson Caro is the starting catcher, and then let's see if these crazy numbers lead to that, because he's got the stuff, obviously. I mean, nobody's going to argue about the stuff, but how you strategize, how you attack different hitters, and how you game plan, I think is a large part about how the success comes for a lot of these guys.
I think so. And I think you look at a guy like John Lester, who relied on David Ross throughout the whole second half of his career, and how important that is to some of these pitchers. But I also think, going back to some of these greatest pitchers of all time, those guys, if you're just that good and you have stuff that's good, as long as the guy behind the plate can just catch your balls, that's what matters. And I think that Jacob Mizorowski throwing 103, some of the movement he has and some of his off-speed stuff, I mean, he just has it. And you see it. And I think if a catcher can just go back there and make sure he catches that 103, because that's not an easy job either, if he can go out there and do it, that's a huge deal for Jacob Mizorowski, and he's going to be fine.
Do you know what I want?
What's that?
I want him to learn how to throw a knuckleball.
Oh, that'd be cool. Just go from 103 to 74.
What are y'all going to do with that? Tell me.
Nothing.
It's
that's
over.
Also going to that's such a different shoulder motion and stuff too. That's going to blow his shoulder out.
Okay, never mind. Don't do that. Never mind. Never mind. I said it. 414 says he will throw a no-hitter this year. Jacob Mizorowski will throw a no-hitter this year.
It's been hard for people to come by that so far this year. Paul Skeens has gotten close twice in the past 2 weeks, and he hasn't been able to get it done.
He was in the process of doing it until he hurt his hamstring. I mean, he was right there in the sixth with one out and had every opportunity to finish that bad boy, and then hurt his hamstring and couldn't finish. I don't think that's crazy. I don't. I think that's a legitimate possibility. Now, again, no-hitter, perfect game, all that, probably no-hitter because he'll probably walk a guy or two. But either way, super impressive. We haven't seen it since Juan Nieves. It should have happened with Sabathia against the Pirates. I'm not letting that one go either. I'm sure that story will come up tonight.
The combined one a few years ago. Do you count combined no-hitters? Why not?
No.
It's still a no-hitter.
I don't care. I don't care about combined no-hitters. Do the whole the way through. That's what I care about. And again, it becomes harder when you pitch for an organization like the Brewers that don't like those high pitch counts. So then it becomes even more difficult. So, for instance, if Mizorowski's sitting at 100 pitches through 8, do you let him pitch in the 9th?
You have to, right? You have to. I think he's at 100 pitches, no hitter through 6. Maybe you think about it differently. But
9th? No, he's 8.
Yeah,
he's at 100.
You kind of have to. I think you have to.
And then as soon as he gives up a hit, you go get him?
Yeah. 100%. Have the guy just warming up ready to go, but let him go out there.
I could totally see them pulling him at 100.
So
I would. I agree with you. Yes, I'd be yelling as well. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. This whole beef between Draymond Green and Charles Barkley leads to an even bigger conversation that I want to get into coming up on the other side of a quick timeout. Plus, Charlie Sounds of the Day comes up at 3:40. Yes, we'll talk about Brandon McManus getting cut by the Packers today. That's during our Green and Gold update coming up at 4 o'clock. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and Wendy's invented the iconic spicy chicken sandwich. Wendy's new spicy chicken sandwich is crispier and more flavor-packed than ever. And the breading, even crispier. Flavor inside, loud on the outside. 9 peppers and spices give it that bold, layered heat. Wendy's spicy chicken. Order in the Wendy's app today. Can I sidebar real quick on something?
Sure.
For the record, this does not happen to me at a Wendy's today. God forbid I was at a different fast food place. A real quick pet peeve. When I place my order at a fast food restaurant, right? And let's say I'm at Wendy's. Again, I wasn't, but let's say I was at Wendy's. I'd like a chicken tendies meal, a large Dr. Pepper. And then the person on the other side goes, "Is that all?" No. And then I order my second thing. And then I get done saying the second meal. "Is that all?" It happened this morning, and I was ready to punch the speaker. It's like, listen, I'll tell you when I'm done. I promise I'm not going to leave you hanging for 20 minutes and just not tell you what I've done. Just shh, and let me give you my order and move forward.
But
Is that all? Is that all?
I think there are
God.
people that probably would keep them hanging, Sparky. That
What
are
do you
going through
mean?
that. Sparky,
We all have places to go.
Working in customer service, man, there's some people that just don't like understand basic like human communication and going back and forth with somebody, or if somebody says hi to you, somebody talks to you, they just don't like respond for some reason.
Right.
And they don't know what to do. Like you would be surprised at how many people just, again, don't know how to do normal human communication.
It just drives me nuts. A couple coming in here on the Brewers real quick. 414, William Contreras ain't going nowhere, Sparky. Must not be his number one fan anymore. You're dead wrong. You must not listen that often. I've been the biggest proponent of giving him an extension now and keeping him here. I've been on that bandwagon more than anything. Like he is, as one person pointed out a couple weeks ago, he is the Yadi Molina of this generation right now. He's that guy. So hell yes, I want to keep him. You can trade Jefferson Carroll, but realistically, is that going to happen? I don't think there's any chance they're going to pay him. And again, we talk about Terang and paying him with 3 years left and all that. You can get Contreras a hell of a lot cheaper than you're going to have to pay Bryce Terang. I promise you. So that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, I love William Contreras. I think he is the stirs the drink. The straw that stirs the drink. Is that where it is?
I think so.
I've screwed up so many sayings today. It's not funny. This has been going on all day, Tommy, from the very first segment of the show. Either way, that is a big, big key. And that's why I said earlier about Mizorowski. Like, I don't know what he's going to look like without Contreras. I don't. Look at all these other guys that leave. No Contreras, and all of a sudden goes sideways on him. Another one from the 715. What is your guys' over-under on home runs allowed by Miz tonight? The Yankees have been mashing lately, and he's been susceptible to giving up the dingers. I don't know. He'll probably give up one or two.
That's what he does.
But hopefully they're just solo home runs and you just move on. Like if he gets up 2 solo home runs and you give up 2 runs and you pitch 6 innings, I'm fine with that. Tommy Wirtz wants to talk.
Well, I just wanted to bring that up that the Yankees have hit 61 homers. That is the most in Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge, how many career homers do you think Aaron Judge has? Just off a guess.
300.
384.
Kind of close.
Just a ridiculous number. He needs one. He'll move into 69th place all time. And how many home runs does Paul Goldschmidt have against the Brewers in his career?
15.
25.
30. That's just ridiculous.
He's been a Brewers killer.
Yeah. So
that I knew. I was just trying to figure it out. But yeah,
just a couple of numbers out there to help support the argument of homers.
Moving forward on this show, we need to make sure that other camera is working as much as he's on this show. So
I was just working on the side, just trying to hang out with the boys.
No, I enjoy it. I'm not against it. There's, just for all of our streaming people. It's not just
I kind of like the cloak of darkness I have on your show.
It's a good way to describe it. Charlie, sounds of the day still to come at 3:40. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiver, Charlie Hughes, on the other side of the glass. I want to talk a little bit about the stuff that's been going on between two guys that like to antagonize everybody else. And they both have done it for their entire career. One of those guys is Charles Barkley. And again, that when you start talking about guys going back and forth at each other and that type of deal, and you're bringing up other guys' stats. So whether I'm bringing up your stats now because you're currently playing and I'm a TV analyst, or I'm the current player, I'm offended, my feelings are hurt. So now I'm going to bring up your stats and try and hurt you and offend you and trash talk you at the same point. Even though that guy's career obviously is over and he's a Hall of Famer, don't mind that. We're still going to try and find ways to take shots at the other person. Now, this is not the only time that we have seen and heard guys having beef. And for the most part, it really comes down to that same show where it's Shaq having beef with somebody or it's Barkley having beef with somebody. Kenny Smith, for the most part, stays out of the fray. He does. And obviously, Ernie Johnson is a saint, so he really doesn't ever talk about any type of crap.
He instigated a little bit on this one, too.
Well, he knows good TV, though, too, right, at the end of the day. So it's interesting when you start talking about these two knuckleheads. You want me to play the Draymond Barkley one first and then the Kenny Smith one?
Yep. It's Ernie, actually, in that one. I mean, Kenny.
Okay. So here is Draymond and Barkley on Inside the NBA.
Listen, sports are for young people. You hope to have a great long career, but sports, nobody wins when they're 37, 38.
But you said what you said. I want to hear if he believes what you're talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is just to not look like you in the Houston Rockets uniform.
Yeah.
Is ultimately the goal for us. Like, we don't want to.
What does that look like?
Did you see it?
I'm just asking.
I saw it. I mean, so, you know, we're always going to try to compete. When you win championships, the goal will always be to try to reach that level. Can we get back to that level? Listen, to your point, Jimmy's going to miss a lot of next year. Moses is going to miss a lot of next year. That's $70 million. $75 million of a, $160 million payroll. So it's going to be tough. But make no mistake about it, the goal will always be to compete at a championship standard level. Whether we win a championship or not, I think as you get older, you have to redefine what's success, right? Still the most sellouts in the NBA. Still the most national TV games in the NBA. And you just want to give yourself a chance. Success may not be for us at this point a championship, right? That's the way it goes. And so I think understanding what is success at this point is key for us, knowing and understanding that it may not be realistic to win a championship, but can we continue to build to that so that once we leave this organization, it's still in a great space of where they have that pedigree and they can try to build on that
like the
Spurs
Spurs.
out.
So he brings up Barkley with the Rockets. Kenny's like, well, what does that look like? Oh, yeah, I saw it. I know what it looks like. Charles Barkley in his 4 seasons as a Houston Rocket, 16.5 points per game, 12.2 rebounds a game, almost 4 assists, 3.9. And the box score, again, plus minus that, which I hate, had a 4. Draymond Green's last 4 seasons, 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a box score plus minus of 0.5.
Not great.
But the goal is not to look like him.
No.
Dude, you're so far worse than him already. You don't even have to worry about that standard. Now, later, this is Ernie Johnson, right? Going at, I think it's Draymond Green and bringing up something maybe he didn't want to hear.
Draymond, you've had 43 of those games with more turnovers than made field goals. That is tied for the most since what year?
Yeah, but he's not a scorer.
Since 2003.
But that's not
Hold
fair.
it.
Now that's
unfair.
That's unfair to you.
Will you let me get through the end of this? Hey.
Okay.
Tied with Kendrick Perkins for the most since 2003.
Oh, come on.
You didn't even have to go that far.
What can I
I'm
say?
running to the board on that.
You can mic drop that one on the way out. We've talked about this before, about my belief in Draymond Green. I'm not sure he's even in the league. But at this point, had he not been put into a perfect situation. And to his credit, he took advantage of it and is a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Hall of Famer role player, best role player probably of all time. So fine, it is what it is. He's definitely not getting there because he was the number one scorer, nor would he have been on any team. Not because he's the number two scorer, nor would he have been on any team. I don't even think he could have been a number three scorer on any team had you run offense for him. Having said that, does cross-generation beefing annoy or entertain you? When you hear these guys from the 80s and the 90s beefing with the current guys that are still currently playing? Because this has been going on for what? The last 5 years at least?
Oh, at least.
Maybe more than 5 years.
Ever since the LeBron Jordan discussion. That's
Right.
when it first kind of really blows up. Yeah. So 10 years probably.
It's been going on for a while. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. And we've heard people along the way talk about it. In the National Football League, maybe I'm missing something. I don't hear a lot of people doing this in the National Football League. Like, I don't hear Marino going, if you played in my day, Patrick Mahomes, you never would have been able to do that. Or Barry Sanders going at running backs in the National Football League, or defensive ends like LT going at guys like Micah Parsons. You never could have done that in my era. Like, I don't really hear a lot of that necessarily. Now, they may bring up a rule specifically of what you could and can't do now. Like back in the day, DBs could, destroy a wide receiver, headshots and everything else. And you have gator arms from wide receivers running over the middle because they don't want to get crushed by a guy like Chuck Cecil for the Packers. And that type, or Rodney Harrison and those guys, right? So you can talk about that, but you don't have the active back and forth you go attacking one another like you do in the NBA. I don't follow the NHL, but I don't see a lot of that on social media. And I never see it in Major League Baseball either. Never, ever, ever do I see it. The NBA is the only professional sport that I'm aware of that has this type of animosity between two different generations of players. And maybe it's because the guys that are on TV and are doing podcasts and everything else are from that older generation, or maybe it's because they're more in the media, but I don't even think that's true, because there's a ton of former NFL guys that are doing shows around the country, that are doing national TV broadcasts, that are all over the place, and you don't have it from them.
Well, and they do have like their moments of criticizing today's game, but it's never at the players that are playing. It's usually just at the NFL in situations like that, when they talk about, the way the quarterbacks are protected. And a lot of these defensive players that are on these talk shows are going, this is awful. Like, this is just no way to play the game. It's supposed to be aggressive, it's supposed to be hard hitting. Let them do that. But it's never really at these players that are in the middle of the game. And I think they can kind of understand that. With the NBA, I don't know. I just feel like the culture that they've built over the past few years, especially since Adam Silver has become the commissioner, has been off of trying to get as much discourse surrounding the game as possible out there. And that's how you're going to promote the game, versus just promoting your stars. Promoting the actual games is having people argue about your sport, whether it's good or bad things, whether they're criticizing you as a league or not. It's just about getting your league in people's mouths, and they like that, and they can run with that. And I think they feed off of this, and that means they're feeding into these discussions too, while these other leagues are just trying other ways, I think, to promote that kind of generational change, while the NBA is promoting the fighting between the generations.
Which, again, I don't think it's good necessarily, but it's hard to say that it's bad considering how good the NBA numbers are right now. It really is. It's hard to say that this is bad because of how many numbers they've got. Does cross-generation beefing annoy you or entertain you when you see it specifically in the NBA? Because we can't come up with instances in other sports. Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I think there is a section of people that love watching the arguing on TV, that love it. I mean, if you go back and you think about it, there was a whole big series on this that I saw on TV during the summertime or whatever. And it talked about talk shows and how they evolved, right? How you had Oprah, and then all of a sudden you had Jerry Springer, who took it to a completely different space, and how that blew up. And then you had all of these, others that kind of branched off of that. And what was that? Drama, screaming, yelling, fighting, all of that. And people are watching it and everything else going, oh, maybe my life's not as bad. So I'm watching all these nonsense, right? And people just were glued to it and wanted to see it. And to a certain degree, I think that's probably still the case today. When you see Draymond and Barkley and Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson all going back and forth, point, counterpoint, having a discussion, and sometimes gets a little intense, I think people at home are picking sides and rooting for a certain person when they get in those conversations.
I also feel like, though, it doesn't have the same kind of glow that those other shows did when they were first doing that type of stuff. Like when you're seeing this stuff constantly on social media, it feels like they're constantly arguing about something, going back and forth with each other. And you're seeing that not only on the TV, but on your phone screen too. That becomes annoying. And that becomes, I guess, almost desensitized to that fun you have in between these. And sometimes, and I think a lot of the younger generation nowadays too, really likes the analytical side of things, especially when you have so many different websites that break down all these advanced stats and people like looking at that stuff and breaking down the game. When you're having moments like this where it feels like you're not breaking down the game, but you have two old guys yelling at each other, that feels less entertaining than just learning about basketball.
See, and I will tell you from an old guy's perspective, I will quickly turn off anything that gets into the analytics and the numbers, and I go cross-eyed. I'm like, you lost me a while ago. You started putting like all these letters
That's
together.
why I think
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm out. I'll go find something that I understand and can be entertained by. And I think that's part of what makes that show good, is that it doesn't get too deep in the weeds and to get too analytical. And it's more about a basketball show that comes on after a game. And Tommy Wirtz and I were talking about the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with him and Tim Allen. And he put it great. He's like, it's a baseball show that comes on after a Brewer game. Like, but they talk everything, including the Brewers game, but it's very, very entertaining. And that's why Tim's done that show for 21 years, because that's kind of been the spin. It's not going into advanced analytics and talking about all this stuff and so forth. It's never been that way, but it's been more of the way inside the NBA is.
But that's part of the reason I think ESPN, the way that they're transitioning the type of content they have, they really like having the Stephen A's and the Inside the NBAs too. But then they also really like having the Mina Kimes and the NFL networks that are going to dive deeper into their stats and have both sides of things. They're really trying to just corner both sides of this market and say, hey, the young people that do love those stats, we're going to have that for you. But the older guys that love the drama and love the go bickering back and forth with each other, we're going to have that for you too.
From the 5-7-4, beefing is annoying. The new guys will always be better, just like the guys 20 years from now will be better than today's players.
Northern Indiana, including the cities of South Bend, Elkhart, and Mishawaka.
Nice. Thanks for listening. Do you think that will always be the case? At some point, it's going to even out, right? At some point, it's just not going to get better. The human body can only do so much.
I don't know.
Regardless of training and everything else, like eventually it's going to even out.
You would think so, but I feel like people have probably been saying that for a long time now. And then you get people like Victor Wembanyama who are just insane athletic freaks that you would never imagine could exist or be doing what they're doing if they did exist.
You're absolutely right. I got nothing for you on that one. You're absolutely right. Charlie, sounds of the day coming up next. Top 3 sound clips from around the world of sports as Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Step up to the plate. Take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. April through June, you can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver with you here on a Friday. Hope you are well. Thanks for tuning in and listening today. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow morning, 7 to 9, Garbedian on golf. Chuck Garbedian and Charlie Usen producing that show. Then after that, 9 to 11, you will hear College Sports Weekly with Don Wachillis and Dan Underberg. Charlie Usen producing that show as well. This has been going on since, well, it's been over a month now, right? College Sports Weekly has been 2 months, and Garbedian on golf has been just over a month. You had no idea of either show prior to producing. Your thoughts on both?
It's been a lot of fun with both. They're both very different from you, and they're both very different from each other. Chuck has way too much paper, and way too many props, but I love the props.
Props look great on video.
It's awesome. Like, he has so much fun with it. Dan and Don are so good, just back and forth with each other, always making fun of each other. It's a good time. I have fun with both shows for sure.
Yeah, it is definitely a fun listen, both shows for sure. All right, it's that time. It's time to get hear more about Charlie. He'll be nice to me going in onto a weekend. It's nice outside.
Plead the Fifth.
He'll play nice. Plead the Fifth. That's right. Coming up at 4:20, brought to you by Habish and Rotier. If you want to text and nominate somebody to hush it up, you could do so. Family members, friends, talk show hosts, sports figures, doesn't matter. All work. Text in now, 677-1250, 414-677-1250. But first, this.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, use it. Let's go.
All right. First up here, we are going to hear from Austin Reeves, Lakers star, talking yesterday after their loss to the OKC Thunder about his confrontation with the referees.
I felt like I was respectful to all of them all night. I mean, there's a million times in the past I've said way worse stuff. And when we were doing the whole tip ball, when they were switching spots, I wanted to get on the other side because they had a guy on the other side who was just trying to keep an advantage. And he turned around and just yelled at my face. I just thought it was disrespectful. The whole time that was going on over there, I don't think he said much to them. I think he stepped in and said something. But at the end of the day, we're grown men, and I just didn't feel like he needed to yell in my face like that. I told him that I wasn't disrespectful. I told him if I did that to him first, I would have got a tech. I feel like the only reason I didn't get a tech is because he knew he was in the wrong. So, I felt disrespected.
I've said this before. These are human beings, man. That referee might have had something bad happen in his personal life before the game, might have some stress outside of the game, whatever, and you felt the brunt of whatever is going on. They're not robots, man. None of us are robots. We all got stuff going on, and sometimes you snap on somebody and you're like, damn, that person didn't deserve it. But I'm stressed out about something else that person doesn't even know about. And then eventually you go back and apologize if you feel you're in the wrong or whatever. Like that. That's part of it. And I'm sure he understands that too. And I agree with Reeves. There was no reason to do what he did, clearly.
If you're like in a regular season game, maybe, all right, I can accept that. Like, he had a bad day, like something like, I don't know, when you're on the biggest stage of your job or one of the bigger stages of your job, if you're giving a presentation in front of a crowd of people, you're not going to scream at your assistant in front of the crowd of people. You're going to just figure it out and work through it and ignore it. That referee going at him like that, like, just didn't feel respectful. I don't care if you had a bad day. You're a grown man too. Treat him like a grown man.
I wonder if they actually feel that way when they do these early playoff games.
They should. They get paid enough money to,
I'm
man.
sure you feel that way maybe for the finals. I don't know if it doesn't. I don't know if it feels any different than a regular season game with these guys early on in the playoffs. All right, what's next?
All right, next up, we're going to hear from Sam Amick. He was on Run It Back with Chandler Parsons, Lou Will, Michelle Beadle, and he was discussing the Bucks benefiting from the playoffs so far.
I feel like it's been a good playoffs for the Bucks when you want to talk about Giannis's market. Like, there's so many teams that had championship aspirations that fell short that now, presumably are going to be incentivized to put even more on the table than they did back at the February trade deadline. That's the type of thing that for the sake of Bucks fans, if they do move on from Giannis, maybe it gets them the kind of package where they can really turn the corner and build with some good young pieces, or maybe even some stars. So we'll see. And then the other thought, real quick, is Giannis is going to have his say here. He's going to put his foot on the scale, and I think at some point, in terms of pushing towards a team that he wants to play for, and that part is going to be a big factor as well.
Bucks are going to get screwed if it's next. Just saying. Like, everybody thinks it's going to be New York. That Bucks are screwed. They're going to get screwed if this ends up being New York. That is, to me, the absolute worst case scenario in this whole thing. If he ends up saying New York and nobody. Now, again, Lillard did that. It didn't work out for him. So it's up to you whether or not you want to listen to him or send him somewhere else with a bigger package. But that team getting him will then have to be convinced that they can convince him to sign an extension. New York knows they'll sign him. Everybody else may not, and that may hinder the package that you can get for him. And you have no leverage if he's saying that publicly about only wanting to go to the Knicks. You're screwed on that aspect, too. If he takes away all your leverage, it could get ugly. We'll see. So Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next, a crushing blow to my soul from the Packers today. We'll talk about it straight ahead.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Yeehaw! Welcome in, 4 o'clock. We are almost done with the workday. Some of you are probably already done, right? Some of you are like, Sparky, I've been done for like 4 hours. I've been at the bar for a couple hours already. Now I'm headed to the golf course, go get a quick round in, go hang out and have some dinner tonight, just relax, kick my feet up, maybe head into American Family Field to see The Miz versus Max Fried, CC Sabathia. Got a message. Where is it? Over here. Throw that up from Jeff and the dugout YouTube chat over there. What does that say from Jeff?
Jeff says, curious, what would be your reactions if CC made an appearance in the Yankees booth on their broadcast tonight?
Fully expect him to, right? I mean, he's been honored for his Yankee greatness already. People are going to remember him, unfortunately, for being a Yankee. Like, it just kind of sucks. Like, we were talking about that idiot in Chicago, the trader. If they win a World Series, that's how he's going to be remembered. People ain't going to talk about this cat being in Milwaukee 20 years from now. They're going to be like, Cubs World Series manager, the trader. Like, that's how that whole thing is going to play out, which kind of stinks. Just like Giannis. Like, if Giannis leaves and goes to New York and wins 2 rings, New York Knick, legendary basketball player. Yes, I guarantee you. And he's in a bigger market. He wins 2 rings in New York, wins 1 in Milwaukee.
He's the greatest player in Milwaukee Bucks history.
Agreed.
They're going to remember him as a Buck.
Here we'll remember him as a Buck.
I think everyone will remember him as a Buck.
I'm telling you. Nationally, he'll always be referred to as 2-time New York Knick, NBA champion. Boom. And then when they do the interview, it all started in Milwaukee, blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. It didn't just start in Milwaukee. It's been his entire career up to this point. If he only spends 3 years in New York and he has 2 more rings, he's still going to be known as a Milwaukee Buck.
We'll find out. So, I mean, to me, the Sabathia thing stinks because you forget about Cleveland. Nobody ever talks about Cleveland. People only talk about his time in New York, and nobody brings up Cleveland. Hell, even CC Sabathia himself, I feel like, gives more love to Milwaukee than he gives to Cleveland half the time when having those conversations with the media. I mean, he absolutely loves his time in Milwaukee for that year. I'll never forget the one time I was in the clubhouse, and that whole team hated me. I was in the clubhouse getting ready for our On Deck show, our pregame show back then, to do my interviews, and Sabathia was like one of the nicest dudes ever. Gigantic dude, but he was like a teddy bear. So he's in there, and he comes walking in after a big start or whatever. I think it was Fielder. One of them was like, beep, beep, beep. And Sabathia's like, what the hell is that? He's like, that's the Brinks truck. Back it up for your next payday, CC. Everybody busted out laughing at the clubhouse or whatever. I mean, that clubhouse, they were tight, man. They were all in that thing together.
Well, and looking back at like CC in Cleveland, yes, he was a 3-time All-Star, but that just wasn't the best he was in his career. The best he was in his career was the 1 year with Milwaukee and the next 5 years with the Yankees after that. So like, that's why, like, Giannis, his best years are going to be with Milwaukee no matter what.
We'll see. His
MVP, his defensive player, like those best seasons, even if he wins championships, they probably won't be his best seasons. Personally, it'll be with the Bucks.
Well, we're going to find out. So again, that's the other thing too about this Giannis thing. We got to get to the Packers here momentarily. I'm trying to push that off because I'm hurt. The other thing about Giannis is, what happens if he goes to somewhere else and gets traded and all of a sudden puts together 4 or 5 healthy campaigns in a row, is healthy for the playoffs, plays throughout the season, no health issues? Is that going to be a topic of conversation?
Oh yeah, people are going to be
Wisconsin?
mad about that. They're going to say,
talk about that?
Faking it for the past 5 years.
Are we going to talk about that?
They're going to talk. They're going to be mad about that.
I'll never say he was faking it, but then it'll be the conversation of the training staff.
People are going to say
else.
he was faking it.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that would be something else that would get people going sideways on Giannis as well. All right, speaking of going sideways, it's my turn to go sideways.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, now, hope you all are well. I'm not well. No. Mm-mm. What did he call himself? The cloak of darkness or something like that? Is that what you called yourself over there, Wirtz? What was it?
Yeah, I said I enjoy the cloak of darkness
on
your show. Yeah.
Right. So he pretty much did that to me earlier today. he's the one that broke the news to me.
Yep.
That Brandon McManus was cut by the Packers.
You should play my Trey Smack edit on this show. It was pretty good this morning or this afternoon. It says Tommy Trey Smack mixed down in the sound folder today. I did break the news to you.
Yeah.
I was pretty hype about it.
I was not. I was hurt. I just think it's a horrible decision.
Why?
So there you go. That's where I'm at. I'll ask you the same thing. Did they make the move too quickly? Is the question. And still to come, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Havish Havish and Rotier at 420. What is this? Did you AI this? Is that what you did?
No, someone else already did it. I put the highlights over top of it there, but in the beginning,
that was pretty good.
I mean, it's just awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
do you know the original song?
You could do all that stuff with the AI now.
Well, I mean, it's still great. It's good for radio.
Yeah. I was just wondering if you were the one that did the AI.
I don't know how to do that. I guess is there you just type that into Gemini and say like make a song.
Well, don't you remember we had wasn't it the Crosby song theme song that we had?
I gotta ask McD.
That was via AI. He made that song.
What? I
Crosby
you sang that.
Crosby loved that song.
No, yeah,
he was very, very.
I know. I purposefully keep it away from him now because his head gets a little big every time. We'll have to get an AI song for Sparks' birthday. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm going to get McD on it.
You're getting sidetracked right now. I will get back to this McManus thing momentarily. But since you brought up my birthday, I literally have had multiple conversations with people in my house and people close to me.
Mm-hmm.
There will be nothing for my birthday because there's no need to celebrate how old I am because I know I'm older than dirt. We don't need to be reminded of it. I want nothing to do with it. And my one buddy's like, what? You don't want to see us? I was like, sure. Come on over in August. Come hang out in September or October. But you ain't hanging out with me when I'm old. I already am old. But
I don't think. No. I mean this in the nicest way possible.
I told him, I said, y'all do something like, oh, surprise party. I said, I will walk out and I'll go to the radio station and hang out there the rest of the day.
I mean this in the nicest way possible.
No, you
don't. I don't think people would think you are 50 years old. Yeah. I do not think that.
Well, that's good. Good for them.
So just take it for what it is. Thunder looks 50. Oh, Sparky doesn't look 50.
Did you stop that?
What do you mean?
Don't do that to him. He's a nice guy.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy. I work with him every day.
Right. That's another reason not to do that. Just keep Thunder out of this, please.
I mean, Sparky, you look like a spry young lad still.
Definitely not. No. Yeah. Don't. Not at all.
Well, when Sparky runs the 40 in the WSRN Olympics that we were going to do, I think it'll be perfect.
No.
We'll find out how spry he is.
So back to this green and gold update that we were trying to do, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Did they make the move too quickly on Brandon McManus? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I don't like it. Number one, you gave up 2 sevens to get this kid in the 6th. If he ends up on the practice squad, is that end of the world stuff? No, it's not end of the world stuff. No. If he ends up on the practice squad and you're keeping McManus because of the money you're paying him or whatever, even though this kid outkicked him, and then he gets claimed and you don't get to have him, okay, well, then you screwed up, obviously. But he hasn't even gotten to the point of a competition with McManus. I have no inside knowledge. Just being straight, there has to be beef in that locker room or beef with that coaching staff with that dude. I mean, you remember last year.
I mean, are you surprised? Yeah, I was going to say.
You remember last year, he was the only cat that was going at LaFleur publicly back and forth. And LaFleur, I mean, I don't talk to kickers. What the hell? So all of that nonsense going on there, if that was all legitimate, it seemed legitimate, then they were going to move on for him no matter what happened. They were done. And then they just held on to him long enough to screw him to let him go at this point. Again, this is now the second example of I don't like how they do business in Green Bay. The first example with the Jair Alexander thing, when they should have cut him immediately and they held on to him forever to try and screw him. And now we're here with McManus. They could have been done with this months ago. If they knew this wasn't going to work, just move. Do you think if you would have moved that everybody would have been like, oh, I better draft this smack kid in the 5th round because the Packers are going to get him? No, ain't nobody would have cared. Whatever. Now, what's going to happen next? McManus is going to get picked up, guaranteed, because there aren't a lot of good kickers in this league. He's going to get picked up and he's going to go somewhere else. And then on this show, I promise you, this season, I will be following closely what McManus is doing versus what Smack is doing. The one thing that better not happen is this dude better not suck. He better not, because if he does, and Goody's right back in the same boat he was prior to having a veteran kicker, then I'm really going to be upset.
Is that like if the Packers maybe are sitting in the same boat they kind of were last year by the end of the year, not maybe at the same level that they expected to before the season? Is that a fireable offense that like the kicker hasn't worked out and then you're going back to that drought that you were in before?
Fireable for Goody?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it. That again, I don't want my owner, or in this case, president, interfering with my GM. Like, if you have him hired, trust him to do his job, let him do his job. I've always been that way, whatever. I don't like guys interfering. If you hire him to do something, let him do his job. If you're going to interfere, then clearly you don't trust that person. So go hire somebody you will trust and not interfere with. And some guys just can't, which is fine. Jerry Jones, hey, I'm going to do it all. Screw that. I'm going to do it. Al Davis, I'm going to do it. Mark Cuban, he didn't necessarily do it. He had Donnie Nelson, but we all knew he was involved. He was front-facing that he was meddling. So you knew what that was. A lot of these other teams act like they're not meddling, but behind the scenes, you know they're meddling. That stuff drives me nuts. So no, I'm not firing them over it. But if you're Goody, you're going to be taking your head and bashing it against the wall over and over and over again by about, week 8 or week 10, if this kid's missing kicks in Green Bay and McManus is somewhere else making kicks. Like, you are really, really going to be regretting it because you're going to be back in the same predicament you were prior to getting McManus.
Right. But also at the end of the season, McManus just wasn't that good. It cost them games. It cost them a lot of games this past season.
Dude, what did he make? 13, 14 straight kicks going into the playoffs?
Still.
He was rolling, and then he had a bad playoff game. Fine. He was hurt during the season. He should not have been on the football field kicking. Now, whether that was him saying, I'm kicking, Matt, let me kick. Okay. Then Matt, who, again, we know my thoughts on Matt and injuries. I hate how they work with stuff in Green Bay. And Matt's like, okay, go ahead. You go kid. Right? And you send him out there at 60% or whatever, and he's missing kicks. And he stinks. He's horrible, blah, 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 blah. But he was never healthy. And then when he finally gets healthy at the end of the year, McManus is like, hey, this is the best I've felt. And all of a sudden it's make, and everything looks fine. Okay. Again, we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. From the 414, hey, guys, the internet says the NBA draft lottery will be televised on ESPN and ABC Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Mallory Edens is the rep for the Bucks.
Yeah, we know. Why are people so excited about this, man?
Again, we talked about that in the 2 o'clock hour. If you missed it, you can go back, listen, wisportsradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcast. Or you can also text Sparky to the Nicolay Law Talking text line, 414-677-1250, to get the link to today's show as well if you want to hear our thoughts back in the 2 o'clock hour. Also from the 414, if you want to say, he just had an off year, no, he didn't. That was a normal Brandon McManus season, and he's only getting older and worse. All right, so let's call up Brandon McManus numbers, because I'm going to do this when you say that stuff. I'm going to go look and see what it looks like overall. Now, remember, McManus had that off the field issue at one point, and that's how the Packers were lucky enough to get him in 2024 when this whole thing was said and done. In 2024, in 11 games, he hit 95% of his field goals, which I would say is pretty good. He was 20 of 21. This year, he was 24 of 30 and was hurt probably for what? Damn near 3/4 of the season, I would say he was hurt and was having problems. And again, you can look back here to McManus prior to getting here, whether it be in Jacksonville for that 1 year where he was at 81%. And then before that, if you want to go looking at numbers, in Denver, 77.8%, 83.9, 82.4, 85.3, 80, 75. Now you could say, that's not very good. My response will be, let's see what everybody else does in Denver in the weather. Let's see what everybody else does at that altitude, kicking field goals in the weather. Adam Vinatieri is a Hall of Famer because of how good he was in the elements, not because of how good he was in Indy in a damn dome. That's not what made him. What made him was how good he was outside, right? Guys that kick inside half their games, you play outside in the Midwest or the East Coast with all these elements throughout the course of time, your numbers aren't going to be as great as everybody else, but it's a heck of a lot more difficult to do. I promise you that. CB, downtown Milwaukee, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, CB?
What's going on, man? I think they make the right choice if you really sit back. Why did Denver get rid of him? So all these things start to creep up, as far as Denver getting rid of him. And for Green Bay, man, it was just time, man. It was just time for a new kicker. We need change, and then people don't like change. Give the kid a chance. He could be dominant, but just don't throw negativity out there right off the bat. Let the man go through a season and do what he do. Packers was paying him. McManus, they didn't want to pay that bill. Go cheaper, younger. That's what it's all about.
Yes, I think you're right. Go cheaper, go younger. That is what it's all about in Green Bay. Thanks for the call. And that's what it's been all about. And we talked about this yesterday in this very segment about them being the 5th youngest team. And by Packer standards, that's a very old football team at this point. Now they just dropped more because now you just got rid of a guy that is older. McManus is going to age 35.
Yeah, maybe they saw the 5th rank and got scared.
No. Get rid of anybody over 30. Let's move on.
Well, but we've also talked about it with this team too, and we heard Ian Rappaport talking about this with the Cowboys yesterday, is that when you have so many players that are at such high contracts with this team, when you have Micah Parsons, when you have a Jordan Love, when you have all these different players, Zach Tom is making a ton of money for this squad, you have to find ways to save some of that cap. And Trey Smack last year for Florida wasn't a slouch for Florida either. He was 27 for 28 from the field goal or from extra points, 18 for 22 from long field goals missing, only 1 from 50 plus yards, and 5 for 6 from 50 plus, 5 for 6 from 40 to 49. Like, he's capable.
No.
He's going to go out there and do a good job.
Can we talk about something else that's happening in the National Football League?
Sure.
So now that they're allowing to kick with the footballs and having their own juiced footballs and whatever they want to do to them and letting them use their own footballs, which before they were never allowed to do. Now these balls are all traveling much farther, right? Now you got guys kicking 55 without any problem whatsoever because the ball's traveling farther. Mason Crosby did not get this benefit when he kicked. This is going to become like the home run and not caring about everything else. This is going to become like the 3-point shot and maybe not caring as much about everything else. That's what this is going to be. So now it's going to be about who can make it from the longest, the most consistently, and then everything else in whatever, but we got to have guys. Now, if you don't have the strongest leg, you're good, right? You kick for a good percentage, but you're not good from over 50, you're out of the league. That's going to be the end of those guys.
And you got to blame the team that we were just talking about in the Cowboys for signing Brandon Aubrey to that big of a contract because they saw that and said, hey, you can kick from 60 yards, easily lock that in.
Shortens the field for the offense.
Right.
Every single,
you got to guarantee 3 points every single time you go on the field at least. That's a huge benefit for some of these teams. But also when you do that, again, it makes other teams want to focus on those same kind of things, which could become a problem.
Totally agree with you. Still to come, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Looking forward to that. Your time to tell somebody to shush it up. Plus, Charlie have some stuff. Plus, follow the money with Austin Herdenia from the Potawatomi Sportsbook and things that Sparky missed on today's show. Still to come before 5 o'clock. Then it's the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz getting you ready for Brewers, Yankees. Max Fried against the Miz tonight. CC Sabathia talk before the game tonight. Before the game today as well. He'll be in the TV booth. I assume he's in the radio booth, but I know he's in the TV booth. So that'll be a lot of fun tonight, hearing from CC Sabathia. Next up, Brian, south side of Milwaukee. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, it seems like they haven't gotten that kicker spot right since they decided to part ways with Crosby. And, we've been pretty spoiled as well because we have had good kicking pretty much mirroring the quarterback play for the better part of 30 years or so, going all the way back to Chris Jackie. I think they should have probably at least kept McManus into camp a little bit and, just to see how the young guy's going to do because, just unproven at this point.
Correct. Yeah, that makes the most sense. That's why I think there was legitimate beef between him and the coaches, him in the front office, whatever the case may be, there had to be beef there where they just wanted to move on regardless and didn't want to wait. Thanks for the call, Brian. There has to be. There's got to be something that leads to this. Otherwise, it's a legitimate competition, and we see what happens. But you didn't even give them the chance to do that.
No.
So, and again, for all we know, McManus may have saw them make the pick and said, I'm out. Like, I am not competing against this, knowing that you all are probably leaning this way. That's why you took this kid. Like, I'm good. You can just release me now. Now, that could have happened too. We don't know. McManus or his agent may have called Goody and said, we want our release. I'm not having a kicking competition against the kid that you traded up for. You can just let him be your kicker. I'll go somewhere else. Maybe.
I think is kind of a big ego if that's the case for a guy that was released from one team, given up on by the whole league, given a shot by the Green Bay Packers. Like, that's a lot to think, or that's very highly to think of yourself. And I think moving forward here, there's a pretty big chance he doesn't get a job because a lot of these teams want to give these younger kickers the chance to show that they can kick from 60 yards too.
He'll get a job. I promise you, there's not enough good kickers in this league. Hey, did you know that any youth sports player can score a free small classic Frosty anytime they visit Wendy's in their sports uniform? That's right. Just stop by after practice or with your team after a game. Who doesn't love a Frosty? And with travel sports and everything else going on this weekend, I'm sure many of your kids will be involved in something one way or the other. So again, head over to Wendy's and spoil your kids. They deserve it at this point. Coming up next, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish and Rotier. Dial it up. Who do you want to tell to hush it up today? 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily here on a Friday. Hope all is well. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie User, doing our thing here today. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow morning, 7 to 9, Garbedian on golf. Chuck Garbedian, all things PGA Tour and otherwise. 9 to 11, all things college sports weekly. Dawood Chillis and Dan Underberg. Charlie Usen hanging out with both of those each and every day. Sure, you will enjoy them if you haven't checked them out. And, of course, tonight, 5 o'clock leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz from 5 until 6:30, getting ready for Brewers and Yankees, The Miz versus Max Fried. And then after the last pitch, you make the switch right here to the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network coming up tonight from 9:30 to 11. And, again, those are hard starts, right? So at 9:30, if the game's not over, turn on your radio, go to X, go to YouTube or Instagram Live or whatever. It'll be streaming live, and you can see the reactions as the game winds down, especially if it's a tight game. They'll already be on the air doing their show, so definitely want to check that out. All right, it is it's close. We're 10 minutes late. Normally we do this at 4:20. We're a little late. That's okay. Let's go.
It's a Plead the Fifth Friday, sponsored by Habish and Rotier. Who should have just kept their mouth shut? Who made a bad decision commenting on a topic they shouldn't have? Let's hear who you think should plead the fifth this week on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, Charlie Usen, time to plead the fifth. Who are you going to nominate to plead the fifth today? Call in, text in, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I had somebody text me earlier, a friend of mine, John, who said, can Giannis just shut up? This "they don't want me no more" comment is Bush League. They have done nothing but sacrifice the future for you. Shut up already. That's my nomination for me for today, and you can quote me on it, says my buddy John, for Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish and Rotier. That's what we'll use to kick it off. Your turn.
All right. I'm actually going to go to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. We had a nomination on there first. Plead the fifth for Frank Isola. He was complaining about having to give up an hour of his and Brian Scalabrini's show on SiriusXM to YouTuber Kenny Beecham, king of the fourth quarter guy. I've been watching my entire childhood up until now. He started just doing NBA 2K videos, and now he's doing actual NBA commentary.
Yeah, he's on SiriusXM, right?
Yep, he's been on there. He's been on CBS doing work too and stuff. He's on a bunch of stuff. This is Frank Isola complaining about.
God forbid we name it the Frank Isola Brian Scalabrine show, but we've only been doing the show here for about how many years now, Brian? 15. When you walk in first day, they're going to name a show after you. Debuting today at noon Eastern, NBA Radio Channel 86 and the SiriusXM app. And whoever did the read, and Warren wanted me to read this, Brian, he wanted me to write that Mondays just got better, which means our show, they'll be taking an hour off our show. And Warren wants me to write that Mondays just got better because now an hour of our show will be cut.
Can I just tell you one thing? Right now, you need to calm down. just trust me on this one. Just calm down. All right.
I mean, give me a break. Let me ask you a question. Nationally,
I gave you your warning.
Nationally, who's got a bigger name, Brian Scalabrine or Kevin Beecham? Kenny Beecham.
Kenny Beecham.
Who's got a bigger name, me or him?
Okay. So first of all, I've never heard of this cat, Kenny Beecham. I'm an old guy out of touch. I'm not a young, hip guy like Charlie. So that's the first thing. And I'm guessing that Isola also is it's an old guy. He's older than me. An old guy that also has never heard of this dude either. I, since then, have been seeing some of his stuff now popping up on X a little bit. Now, I don't know his background, his credibility. I don't know anything about this guy. But I will say that it is pretty crappy for the programming department at SiriusXM to have these dudes talking about how a day just got better when it involves hacking off part of their show. You want the other shows to read that? By all means. But that is a pretty garbage thing to do to those two gentlemen. Now, again, Isola has been on shows that I've done in the past. He's tight with Mark Lazary. So we've had Isola on. Scalabrine used to come on all the time. I love Brian. Him and I text from time to time. So I'm good with both those guys. All I'm saying is just the way they went about this to those two guys probably was not done right. Should Isola have maybe not did what he did publicly? Yeah, probably. But again, he also has a big ego. And his feelings were hurt, so he said what he had to say.
Well, I just feel it's not Kenny's fault. It feels like he's
No,
going
it's
more
not.
at
It's
Kenny
not.
at in this.
You're
and
right. Yes.
Like that's the problem with
I
it,
agree
is
with
that
you.
he's blaming this guy who Kenny on YouTube has 749,000 subscribers. On Twitter, he has 590,000 followers. On Instagram, he has another 200,000. Like he's a pretty big deal in kind of the more modern NBA talk world.
Yep.
So like he deserves to have that. To go and then blame it on him when you're mad about them cutting a show from or an hour from your show isn't fair.
I know, I agree with you. He shouldn't have went at Beacham necessarily. But like I said, his feelings were hurt, his ego was hurt, and that's how that whole thing came. None of this gets to that point if they don't ask him to make that read.
Oh, no,
he would have just
100%.
shut up, did his show. But when you ask him to pretty much say, it got better because I'm not on the air with my partner, yeah, screw you. I mean, I understand that reaction. I totally get it. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to play the one that I was excited to play for you, Sparky, because there's a lot of things about this that I think you might not like. To start off, this is Tyrese Halliburton asking a question Jeff Passan on the Pat McAfee show. I know you don't like Tyrese Halliburton, but he was asking Jeff Passan a hypothetical.
Why is he asking Jeff Passan?
Because
McAfee's off, he's filling in?
No, McAfee was on the show too. Tyrese Halliburton was just hanging out on the show, I guess, for some reason, co-hosting with McAfee.
They're all in Indianapolis.
But he was asking Jeff Passan a hypothetical question that I think Sparky's not going to like the question or the answer from Jeff Passan.
It depends on what your priorities are and what your level of being willing to take grief from other fan bases is. If all you care about is winning and you don't care that people look down on you for it, if you want to pull, let's say, the Kevin Durant move, then you go with the Dodgers.
So I guess I cut out the question. The question was, would you rather throw out a first pitch for the Dodgers or the Cubs if you were asked to do that?
If, however, you want history and you want, being a Cubs fan can be hard. They spent a century without a World Series. It's almost like struggle and strife are built in to that organization and to being a fan.
Right.
And here's the thing. The likelihood of the Cubs winning a World Series is a lot lower than the Dodgers, just because the resources that the Dodgers ownership puts in as compared to the Cubs. But both have great stadiums, both have great histories, and it's just a matter. If you're a Dodgers fan, you kind of look like a bandwagon jumper, but that's okay because you're getting rings. If you are a Cubs fan, then you are in it for the struggle and for the time at the ballpark as much as anything.
I don't mind that. Saying the Cubs have sucked for a majority of their time.
I thought you were going to get on
They
him
have
for
sucked.
being a Cubs fan apologist.
No.
They've won more recently than the Brewers.
Well,
They've had
everybody's-
more success in their franchises
Charlie,
lately.
the Brewers have never won a World
Uh-huh.
Series. So the Marlins have 2 rings.
Yeah.
And the same time, the Cubs have 1. So the Marlins have had more success than the Cubs have had. And the Marlins don't have the payroll or anything of the sort. They bought 1 World Series. I'll give them that. The other World Series was done with a bunch of young guys. So again, like if you want to talk about struggling fan bases and who should be mad, Angels fans. Now that is absolute torture. You had Trout and you had Ohtani and you couldn't even get into the damn playoffs consistently. Like that's torture. This anything for the Cubs, I don't mind that at all. I mean, as far as who you want to throw out a first pitch for, sure, whatever, pick. I wouldn't want to throw out first pitch for either one of those clown organizations for multiple reasons. How about this? Let's go back to one other thing. So Trevor and Josh on Inside Wisconsin Sports, off the air, we were having this conversation about the different teams that you hate and that you want to see lose, right? And Trevor to me says, well, Yankees, Brewers, like, do you hate the Yankees? I'm like, no. This isn't the Steinbrenner Yankees where they won a lot. They don't win a ton. The organization that we all hate is the Dodgers because they are winning and they've got the best player and they bought their pay. They bought it. Like the Yankees are no longer looked at the same way as the Dodgers. So for me, no, it's not the same thing. Now, story time. When I was growing up, my dad's favorite baseball player was Dave Winfield. So we'd go to County Stadium to see the Yankees at least like once a year so he could go watch Dave Winfield play for the Yankees. So I have a little bit of a tie in here, and I got why they were the evil empire back then because they were doing what the Dodgers are doing now. But it's not that anymore. Like Brian Cashman screwed that up multiple times in New York.
Yeah, but they're not much better than the Dodgers when it comes to still like paying a ton of money for these players or making crazy trades to bring in these players. They don't, but they've been to a World Series. Yeah, they lose to the Dodgers in the World Series recently, but they've been there and they're still hoarding pieces with the money that they spend too.
I just don't look at them the same way. Maybe you do. I don't view them the same way. All right, what's next?
Funny you brought up Trevor Thomas, because this next one is from him from Inside Wisconsin Sports earlier in the week, where he decides that Remember the Titans is not a sports movie.
But I don't view that movie as a sports movie. And I think that's my struggle with sports movies, if I'm being completely honest. The idea of wrapping a story around sports is great. Like, as an example, one of my favorite movies is Radio.
Okay.
Is that a sports movie?
Yes.
See, I don't view it. So that's just the difference in how we view movies. I don't view that as a sports movie.
Can you tell me what is a sports movie to you?
I think I'm struggling with that.
Because I think
more documentary style, probably. Like Miracle is all based around the sport itself and the history of the Olympics and having not done that and the team that wasn't supposed to win. By the way, I haven't seen that, but I know the story. Okay. I can't sit through it. I tried. Loved the movie. But that story was not based on sport. Certainly, football brought it together. Certainly, that helped fix the divide. The team aspect of it. The coaching story in that was really fascinating. And watching how at the end, they had to essentially lay down their guard, if you will, and realize that they're better together. But I just watched that. I wasn't watching it as a sports movie. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. So that was Trevor. Shots go back and forth. Now you hear Tommy Wirtz over here laughing. When I got in here today on the Nicolay Law Talking text line, there is a text message that says from the 414 that says, so who is worse, Tommy or Trevor? Both horrible about not watching movies.
So the origin of this is I had never seen Back to the Future.
Yeah, I know
That's
that.
crazy.
I then saw it on Amazon, literally popped up like my algorithm, the first one,
Uh-huh.
and I watched it.
Okay.
And I was like, it's a fine movie. I gave it like a 6 out of 10. It wasn't anything that crazy to me.
Well, no, because it's way old now, so everything doesn't appear to be as good as it
Well,
was back then.
yeah, that's the other thing. The movie came out 15 years before I was alive. I would love for anyone to go tell me the top movies from 15 years you were alive and ask if you've seen them. You're going to be shocked at how many you have not seen. Regardless, I watched it. I wanted to come in here to make sure that Trevor Thomas got on Plead the Fifth, because Trevor Thomas thinks Packer games are sports movies, and that's it. There's if that is the criteria that the Remember the Titans is not a sports movie. Now, I know we're also talking to Sparky, who's not really the movie buff either, but I'm assuming you know the premise of the movie if you have not seen the movie.
Absolutely, I've seen it.
Well, it's Disney. That's why I forgot about that.
No, I've definitely seen Remember the Titans, and I told Trevor and Josh this. When Gary Ellerson did the big show with us years ago, Gary Ellerson pretty much lived that.
Yeah.
Where he was in an all-black school, all-white school, and they were forced to merge. So he literally pretty much lived kind of what that was portraying. And I think it was much worse what he lived through than what they were portraying. But either way, he kind of lived through it. So when that discussion came up on the air and he started talking about him growing up, it was like, holy crap. So I understand Trevor of what he is saying.
No.
Now hold on now. I understand his point because he hasn't seen Hoosiers either.
Yep.
And there's more of a lesson storyline there other than just, Jimmy Chitwood hitting shots or whatever.
So is every movie.
So are sports documentaries.
Listen to me. I agree with you. And I agree with you that in the way he describes how it would be a sports movie, the only thing that would be a game.
Yes.
Like that's the only way. No other sports movie are you going to walk away from without getting something out of it.
Right.
One way or the other, there's always some type of lesson or thing that they're trying to get across in a movie. Days of Thunder. That's another one he's never seen.
Yeah.
But same type of deal. I mean, he hasn't seen really any of them. He hasn't seen Star Wars. He hasn't seen
Trevor
a
is
bunch
way
of them.
worse at not seeing movies. I knew Back to the Future was my what's it called? I don't even know. But I hadn't seen it, and I literally watched it this week because of it.
That's fine. All right. Coming up next, we'll check in with our guy, Austin Herdina. Follow the money straight ahead. And where's it at? Potawatomi. Step up to the plate. Take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee, April through June. You can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen with you. Hamish, and Rotier, baby. That's where you want to go. National reputation, hometown service. These guys are here for you, right? Yeah, they've got the national reputation because they've won big cases and some laws have been changed. Safety laws have been changed because of things that they have brought up in court and so forth and done nothing but great things. The hometown service aspect is great because they treat you like a friend, like a family member. Very, very approachable in how they go about their business. And that's what you want. You don't want to walk out of meeting with a lawyer after you were hurt in a car accident and you got all this stress and all this stuff going on in your life. Walk out and go, did that person listen to me? Like, were we in the same room? Does that person know anything of what I just said? Because it felt like that person was looking right through me the entire time. You don't want to have that experience. You just don't. You don't want to have that experience with a doctor or with a nurse or anything else. Certain aspects of life, you want those people to pay attention. This is definitely one of them. Check them out today at Habish.com. 13 locations around the state of Wisconsin. Wausau, Green Bay, Appleton, they're there too. Again, check them out now at Habish.com.
It's time to follow the money with Austin Herdina, the sportsbook manager of the Potawatomi Sportsbook on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
All right, let's get to it. Our guy, Austin Herdina, joins us now. You can see his pretty face there on X and on YouTube. I think Tommy is calling you the devil over there with devil horns. I'm not sure what exactly is going on over there with Tommy Wirtz.
It was hyped up. No, it was hyped up.
I look like devil horns.
Just doing this, like
yeah.
Okay, that's hello from under the bus.
It's a very weird way to do it.
He was texting me during that conversation. He said he enjoyed the sports movie conversation.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, Austin, do you think that Remember the Titans is a sports movie?
100%, yes. Yeah, it's without a doubt. I mean, the movie is literally centered around
odds on -1 million.
Yeah.
I just Googled best sports movies, and it's the first thing that popped up.
So good.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's beautiful. Okay, Mr. Austin Herdina, number one game being bet on going into the weekend at the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
It's the New York Knicks tonight. This game was pretty much a pick'em earlier today. Now it's up as far as Knicks plus 3.5, and people are still betting it. They're just happier to get the better price and the better number. This is a game where, OG Anunoby is going to be injured. He's out for the game. Joel Embiid is questionable. I don't know. The Knicks have really dominated these first two games, and people are expecting them to take another one.
Game number 2, where are you going there?
Game number 2 is actually the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of people coming in and betting on the Brewers against the Yankees today. They're plus 110 right now on the money line. Small home dog, total of 7.5. We got Miz on the mound. I think people are excited about that. So I think it's going to be a really big crowd in there today. We've had a lot of people coming in, betting on the game.
Taking the shuttle over?
Yep, getting their bracelets, taking their shuttle over to the ballpark. It's going to be a good crowd. I think it's going to be pretty tough home environment.
That's awesome. All right, last one. What's your third one?
The last one is back to the NBA tonight. Spurs and Timberwolves. People are backing the Timberwolves plus 5. I don't know if I don't know necessarily what that is, because if you look at the last game, the Spurs just destroyed them. But back in Minnesota, the home team, plus 5 points. I think that's attractive to a lot of people.
Spurs are just tough, man. I don't know. We'll see. Austin Herdina, follow the money. We do it each and every Friday. Normally we have more time, but everything got screwed up with that sports talk or sports movie conversation. Austin, have a good weekend, my friend. I appreciate you.
You too. Thank you.
There he goes, Austin Herdina. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up next, 5 to 6:30. He is Tommy Wirtz with the leadoff show, getting ready for Brewers and Yankees. Max Fried against the Miz coming up tonight. First pitch right around 6:40 or so. And then after the last pitch, you make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with the franchise Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. Enjoy your night, Wisconsin. That'll do it. Toodles.